Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys.
Weather-wise, there have been better days in Texas. 36 degrees, a threat of sleet, freezing rain, and very unpleasant things in the forecast. That doesn't really matter to the Eagles and to the Dallas Cowboys because, as I said a minute ago, this is one of the NFL's great rivalries. Hope you had a happy Christmas and hope the 1983 year comes to be just exactly like you'd like it to be. I'm Pat Summerall along with John Madden. A lot of extraneous things going on here. The Cowboys have to win to have the home field advantage if the playoffs, and when the playoffs start, the Eagles need to win today to stay alive in the playoff picture. All those extraneous things, though, John, I don't suppose when two teams like this get together make any difference.
I think the biggest thing, though, is confidence. You know, the Eagles aren't playing like the old Eagles. They aren't having a good year. They really don't have a lot of confidence. I think if they jump out early on top of the Cowboys, they'll have a chance. I think if the Cowboys get on top of them early, it'll be a long day.
What about key matchups that we should be looking for today, John?
We have some interesting matchups. You know, the best offensive lineman of the Eagles, Jerry Sizemore, is out. Frank Giddens has taken his place. Big Frank Giddens, he weighs 300 pounds, 6'7", and he'll be going against Ed Too Tall Jones. A very interesting matchup. You know, in the NFL, now they keep sack records, and we have two of the leading sackers in the league. Dennis Harrison from the Eagles and Harvey Martin from the Cowboys. So it'll be interesting to keep track of all that line play today, Pat.
All right, John, we're just about set to kick off. Cowboys and the Eagles. And Texas Stadium has not been too good to Philadelphia. They've only won once here. They've lost 10 times. But as we said a minute ago, it's very, very important to Philadelphia. It's very, very important to Dallas as well. But for the Eagles to keep their playoff hopes alive, they must win today. When the day began, all of the teams in the NFC had a chance for the playoffs. Even the Rams with their record of 1-6. Wally Henry is number 89, back deep. Mel Hoover is back there with him. Number 85, and of course Raphael Septien will kick off. Cold and dreary day in Dallas. 36 degrees just a few minutes ago, and drags him down at the 12. The Eagles will start from deep in their own territory and will check out their offensive line and the runners and the receivers. Ron Jaworski, of course, is the quarterback. Wilbert Montgomery, Terry Harrington started last week. This week it's supposed to be Leroy Harris. Ron Smith is one of the wide receivers. Harold Carmichael the other. Carmichael comes out wide to the left. It'll be 1st and 10. Lone setback is Wilbert Montgomery. York has Spagnola in motion. Hands to Montgomery. Montgomery for about a yard. Guy Brown was the first man there. A little scuffle going on after the play is over.
That's the way to start a game. No scuffle.
If you're cold, let's get warm in a hurry. Here's the Dallas defense. The line, familiar names, of course, Ed Jones, John Dutton, Randy White, and Harvey Martin. The linebackers, Ekman, Brunig, and Guy Brown. Some question about whether Brunig would make it today. Charlie Horse in his leg. The secondary, young but strong. Walls, Thurman, Barnes, and Michael Downs. 2nd and 7. Line of scrimmage back at the Eagles 16. Leroy Harris and Wilbert Montgomery behind Jaworski. It's Montgomery. Quickly Montgomery. First down, Philadelphia out to the 30. Dennis Thurman tripped him up, 15-yard gain.
It was one of the things Dick Vermeil said last night they have to do is be able to run the ball. Of course, when the Eagles run, they run to this guy, Wilbert Montgomery. I formation, flip. Leroy Harris playing there, number 20. He's starting again because he's a better blocker than Harrington, and we just see why.
And Montgomery almost booked for more than he got. He got 15. It's first down. Eagles at their own 31. First possession as Dallas defense goes into that flex. Spagnola goes in motion. Stop. Back to Montgomery. One of the other things that Dick Vermeil said as Benny Barnes comes up to make the stop is that we just simply have to get the ball to Montgomery more.
You know, they started out in training camp and they were going to use more formation. They were going to use Wilbert Montgomery more as a pass receiver. They said that's really not the type of guy Montgomery is. They said he has to be in the I formation, in the backfield, and run the ball. So they're going back to that now.
Montgomery then has carried the ball every time. Two tight ends, Vito Cap and Spagnola. Outside is Ron Smith. Pass complete. Another Eagle first down. Almost midfield. Dennis Thurman is there. Another 15-yard gain.
You know, Ron Jaworski's really been taking a lot of heat. And last week in the huddle, Wilbert Montgomery was saying that the players were telling him, Ron, you ought to change your name to Lou. And then when they boo, you'll think they're cheering you.
Lou, huh?
Louie.
First down Eagles at their own 49. One lone setback is Wilbert Montgomery. Takes to Montgomery. Going for a bundle. Emerson Wall. Picked off by Wall. The NFL's leading interceptor just got another one. Ron Smith, the intended receiver.
He now leads the league in interceptions with 6. You know, he was a free agent rookie last year. Everyone worked on him. I don't know why they keep working on him. Let's watch it in slow motion here. Now, he's a left corner. He starts here as man-to-man. Can't chug after 5 yards. Looks over his inside shoulder. And one thing about Emerson Wall, he has great pass-catching ability. That's why he gets a lot of those interceptions. Not only is he in position, but he can catch the ball.
So the Cowboys will take over with 12:26 left in the first quarter. Two tight ends set up with Cosby and Dupree both in there. And it's Tony Dorsett outside the 10 to about the 12. The offense for Dallas. Danny White, the quarterback. Tony Dorsett and Ron Springs, the runners, and Drew Pearson and Tony Hill, the wide receivers. The offensive line, Donovan Richards, Rafferty, Peterson, Cooper, and Doug Coffey. That time they went with two tight ends. We'll set up the Eagle defense in just a minute. Dorsett with Springs up in front of him. Put Johnson this time in motion. Dorsett straight ahead to about the 14. John Bunting was the first Eagle to make the hit. The Eagle defense. They play a three-man front. We'll get to the Eagle defense in just a minute. The Eagles, so good on defense the last couple of years, have fallen on bad times. And the defense has been the breakdown. Dick Vermeil said last night, they just didn't work on it in training. Third down. 3. Ball gets away from White into the end zone. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Greg Brown makes the recovery, makes the hit and the recovery. Touchdown, Eagles.
He's going to keep that ball back.
Long time he'll remember that one.
And we talk about free agents. He's in his second year, but he was a free agent last year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now watch, he'll come from the right side of the screen. Danny White is looking to his left. Now watch, Greg Brown comes in from behind, right there. You see him, he grabbed, and as he grabbed, he knocked the ball out into the end zone, did a little turn, and got back in and recovered it himself for a touchdown.
Howard Richards is the man who is injured in white for the Dallas Cowboys. Talking about him yesterday with Tom Landry. Tom was saying what great progress he had made. Those of you who have been watching San Francisco defeat Kansas City 26-13, welcome to Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. And those of you who watched Green Bay overwhelm Atlanta 38-7, Welcome to Texas Stadium, and here's what just happened. There was no score at this point, and then Greg Brown put the heat on Danny White. Watch number 98. Ball is loose. Brown is back up. That's what's happened here at Texas Stadium. Greg Brown's second career touchdown. And the Eagles lead 6-0. Tony Franklin will try to make it 7. John Shira is the holder. Tony Franklin, perhaps the first member of the fraternity of kickers that do not wear shoes. 7-0. Pat Haggerty is the referee. Some story about how he had to get here. Snowed in Denver was Haggerty. Had to fly with the Broncos on their charter. Eventually wound up in Los Angeles. And then from Los Angeles back to Dallas.
That's one way to get here. We were talking earlier about confidence. If the Eagles, had a bad start, they really haven't had the type of year that they expected to have. As you mentioned earlier, a year ago they were first in defense. This year they're 13th in defense, and they really don't have the confidence. And I think that it was very important that they get that early score, that first score, and something to work with. I think had that happened to them, it could have been a tough day. But that's the type of thing that Dick said. That's the type of play that they needed. Aggressive play, going after it, making things happen. He said he didn't feel they were doing that type of thing.
Light and sometimes freezing rain falling. There's Franklin to kick off. High hanging. Ron Fellows will bring it out. He's got some room. Fellows to the 32. Fumble. Officials are saying that he was down. The Eagles are saying that we have it. The officials have already said no. He hit the ground. 28-yard return, and as John Madden has pointed out many times, the ground cannot cause a fumble.
I think we're going to have a big argument about it, though. Because the Eagles did come up with the ball. It's like Louis Giamona that has the ball.
It is. The Eagle offensive unit was already out on the field. Check it again.
Here's Ron Fellows. He'll start up the middle. He's going to cut right up there. Now that's the first hit. The second hit, I think the whistle blew right there before the ball came out.
That's the official ruling. The ground cannot cause a fumble. Dallas first and 10 at their own 33. Motion. Dorsett to carry. Nothing doing as Frank LeMaster bops him right at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go.
I think what happened, I think the Cowboys were trying to influence LeMaster. Instead of being influenced, he was going on a blitz. He was going. And he just went right through that guard hole, and he got Tony Dorsett before he could get started.
2nd and 9 from the 34. The Dallas Cowboys have scored only 7 points in the first quarter of all games this year. 2nd and 9. Despite their record of 6 and 1, first quarter has not been good to them. Cosby starts in motion. White drops the throw. Does Cosby. Cosby has first down outside the 45, knocked down by Jerry Robinson.
One thing about Danny White and the Dallas Cowboys is they have good mixture on first down, second down, and third down. They don't get in those ruts where they run on first, run on second, and then try and throw on third down. Of course, against this Eagle defense, that isn't a good idea.
Tom Landry just voted best dressed in football once again.
Even has a good-looking raincoat.
Everything. All matches.
Hide your shoes.
Dorsett on first down to the left side. A yard, no more. Ken Clark, number 71, the nose guard, came out to make the stop.
the reason I was saying it's so important to throw on first and second down is that on third down, on passing downs, the Eagles bring in those 4 defensive linemen and 6 defensive backs, and that's the one that they got the sack on. That defense, they got the sack and the touchdown. I think the Cowboys want to keep the Eagles out of that defense.
Tom Landry was saying to us yesterday that if you let the Eagles sit there, in whatever defense they want to play, they're tough to beat. Got to make a move. Pitch back Dorsett. Nothing doing. Jerry Robinson, the Eagle tackler, went up very quickly. Looked like Dorsett had some room, and then it all disappeared.
I'll tell you who made that play, though, is the strong safety. Randy Logan came up into the backfield in force, and the tackle was pulling Jim Cooper, and he made Dorsett cut when he really didn't want to. Let's see if we can see it here. We'll see Logan coming right up in here, the tackle blocking him here, and that's what made Dorsett cut. The chalkboard's not working. I was drawing it, it didn't go up in there.
Some difficulties again. Danny White out of the shotgun. Good time. Pass complete. Timmy Newsom. That'll be enough for a first down. He's knocked out of bounds in front of the Dallas bench by Jerry Robinson. You can see what is happening, and the forecast is even more unpleasant than that sight.
You know, the good thing about this, Pat, is this stadium has that hole up on top, and it doesn't rain on the fans.
But it does rain on the plate.
I always thought that was kind of funny. You know, protect the fans and let the players get soaked. Look at the fans. They probably don't even know it's raining. Now look at the players.
Talking about ice storms developing later in the day and a tough day to move around. Be careful. First and 10 Cowboys. Ball is up to Philadelphia 44. Dorsett comes way out to the right side. Something going on rather funny. Danny White finally calls a timeout.
He really let Dorsett run too long. You see that Dorsett was either going to continue on and go to the Philadelphia bench or turn up field, which would have been a penalty. It looked like he got himself after the motion in a formation that he didn't want or couldn't run to play from. They said, well, I'll take a timeout and go over and talk to the coaches about it.
While they talk, let's run down some of the other scores. Tampa Bay beat Detroit, keeps their playoff hopes alive, 23-21. The Buccaneers, Green Bay also alive. Atlanta's already in the playoffs. Green Bay 38, Falcons 7 in Atlanta. San Francisco keeps their playoffs alive, playoff hopes. 26-13 over Kansas City. Cleveland beat Houston 20-14. Woeful year for the Oilers. Pittsburgh 37, New England 14. Bradshaw out of his slump, obviously. Cincinnati 24, Seattle 10. Word on Howard Richards is that he has a sprained ankle, and we really don't know whether or not he will return. My guess is that he will not. Herbert Scott, of course, will take his place.
It's not bad when a player gets injured and you replace him with a Herb Scott, who's been an all-pro guard. Of course, he had that knee injury in the preseason, and he's just working himself back into the lineup.
Fourth quarter score, you saw St. Louis leading the Giants 24-21. Both of those people still with playoff possibility. Set in motion. To Dorsett. Roynell Young diagnosed that one perfectly. Maybe too perfectly. He's down.
He had time to think about that play because that was the same play that the Cowboys were going to run before they took the timeout. Just put Tony Dorsett out here in motion, ran everyone downfield, threw the ball out quickly to Dorsett. Roynell Young saw it, boom, he was right up there.
Richard Blackmore would take Young's place if he can't continue. Here's the play.
Watching, here comes Young up. You see, it looks like he may have put his helmet right on Dorsett's left knee.
still there.
I think you're right, John. He just caught that knee at a very, very inopportune time. There's still a 10. There are so many things that can happen with the Super Bowl tournament format. So many teams still alive that it's difficult to put all those things together before the afternoon is through. Young encouragingly up to his sitting position. Washington 7, New Orleans nothing. The Redskins, of course, tied with Dallas with their record of 6-1. That's the game that they moved back. Starting time, Chicago Bears 7, the Rams nothing. For the Rams, they played well. You know, there may be one good point there. They weren't ahead. Every other game they get ahead and then they lose the lead. Now they're behind. Maybe they can play better from behind.
Dorsett is the lone setback. Second down, 11. Dorsett draw. And Tony gets down to about the 37-yard line, about a 2 yards short first down yardage. John Bunting tripped him up.
Of course, with one back in the backfield, the Cowboys are trying to show that this is a pass formation, passing formation. Danny White just comes back like it's a drop back, hands the ball to Dorsett on a delay or draw play. Picks up about 7 yards. It puts him in a good third down and 2 or 3.
Like about 3. John Bunting, who made the stop calls, the defensive signals after he gets what they want from Marion Campbell over on the sideline. White in the rain. Osby comes up with it. Was hit back, but he had the first down yardage hit by Robinson. First down, Dallas.
I'll tell you one thing, that ball is coming out a lot on these plays. These Eagles, or this Eagle defense is really doing a lot of hitting out there. You know, they want to jolt that ball loose, but Crosby did a good job of holding on after he made the catch.
Rain continues. Cold rain. Crosby on 1st and 10 out flank to the right. Billy Joe Dupree also in the game at the tight end. Crosby in motion. Take the Dorsett. Inside. Intended for Crosby, who went in and came back out. Couldn't hang on.
The thing about the Cowboys, they've always had a tall tight end. Doug Crosby's a starter now. He's 6'6". Billy Joe Dupree, of course, is 6'4", and those guys really give a quarterback big targets to throw to.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the Eagle 33 for Dallas. White, 4 out of 5 so far. 2nd and 10. Tony Hill out wide to the left. Crosby lined up as the flanker to the right. Springs in motion. Dorsett. Nothing doing. Logan came up to make the force quickly, and Clark made the stop. Those of you who watch the Cardinals keep their playoff hopes alive, 24-21 over the Giants. Welcome to Texas Stadium. The score here is Philadelphia 7, Dallas nothing. Pat Summerall with John Madden. Another Eagle player is injured. Harrison, beg your pardon. They both are down. Philadelphia 7, Dallas nothing. The Eagles lead Dallas 7-0. We're still in the first quarter. 4:38 left to play. In the rain at Texas Stadium. Danny White fumbled, was recovered by Philadelphia in the end zone for the only score.
Dwayne Young just came back. He was out for 2 plays. He injured his neck a little, but he's back in now.
Harvey Armstrong has replaced Dennis Harrison. The Eagle defense, they go with 4 down linemen now as Butch Johnson goes left in motion. On the shotgun, good snap. White is hit and really clobbered. And the penalty marker is down.
That'll be 15 yards for roughing the passer. It'll be an automatic first down, or a first down for the Cowboys.
By the way, we told you just a minute ago. Let's see.
Personal foul, number 71, roughing the passer, offensive pass interference. We'll replay the down.
Replay the down. Is that right?
That won't be a first down. Yeah, the defensive penalty of roughing the passer, and of course the offense had offensive pass interference, so they just nullify each other and they play it again. Now, of course, that's one of those things I really don't think is right.
Because you shouldn't get the personal foul and punished.
Let's see if we can find the... There it is right there. You see what happened? We saw the receiver come down and run into a defensive back. It was a pick. So that's the Cowboys penalty. Now let's watch number 71, Ken Clark. He's coming right up the middle. Okay, the ball is gone from Danny White, and it looked like they got him. You see that right hand? It looked like it hit him in the head.
So they replay the down. It'll be 3rd and 10. By the way, the Cardinals' victory over the Giants clinches the playoff berth for them. It's quite a story, too, isn't it?
The surprise teams in the NFL this year, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Newsom in motion. Shotgun formation for White again. Time. And a play. Touchdown. Butch Johnson. White. The strike. 33 yards. You talk about a pass that was perfectly thrown. Here it is.
Right, and it was against the Eagles. There's 6 defensive backs. Watch number 86. There's Butch Johnson. He's the inside man. He's going to run a post up the field. Now he's going to go in towards the post. There's one defender short, one defender long. Catches are right between them both for a touchdown. What a great throw by Danny White.
Raphael Septien now with Glenn Carano holding. We'll try to even the score. And 7-7 at Texas Stadium. Boy, that's worth another look. That touchdown.
Let's take a look at how Danny White fell when he was throwing that ball. It's a 4-man rush, 4 defensive line. There's big Dennis Harrison hitting him just as he throws the ball. We'll go again from the shotgun. See the pressure on him. He just there was a timing pass, hit the post right up over the deep man to Butch Johnson.
You can't throw it any better than that. It's Philadelphia 7, Dallas 7.
This is Butch. Wish everybody happy holidays. From just the two of us, CBS and Dallas Cowboys.
Well, thank you, Butch.
That was before the game. He looked like he knew he was going to do it, didn't he?
Septien to kick off. You saw the scoring drive. Wally Henry. 25, 30. Outside the 40. Good return by Henry. Jeff Rohr knocked him out of bounds. 40-yard return and a good one.
You know, that roughing penalty really hurt the Eagles because that was an incomplete pass. The Eagles are the fewest penalized teams in the league.
7-7, Eagles Cowboys.
Let's watch that touchdown one more time. Here's Richard Blackmore, the defensive back. He's playing man-to-man on Butch Johnson. He has deep help from John Shire. Now watch, Butch Johnson just runs right by him here and then right into the post. Now watch what see, up there, Blackmore should get a bump on him, up on the line of scrimmage. He doesn't get the bump. You see that? Butch Johnson's right by him. Now Shire should get over. He gets over too late, and the perfect pass scores the touchdown.
First and 10 at the 45. 3:59 left first quarter. Leroy Harris and Wilbert Montgomery. Two running backs, Harold Carmichael, split wide to the left. Spagnola in motion. Comes to block. Montgomery. With room, Wilbert Montgomery out of bounds at about the 43-yard line in Dallas territory. Michael Downs closest to him. 12-yard gain. Good one.
It's interesting that the Eagles are having their running success to the left side here. Good block by Leroy Harris. You can see why he's starting at fullback, and that was a block that would spring Montgomery to the outside for the first down.
Spagnola is the man in motion.
Let's watch him. He turns, and he gets a good block right there in the linebacker, Guy Brown, that just holds him up enough so Montgomery can get outside.
Jaworski to Smith. Another first down for Philadelphia. Inside the Dallas 30, 14-yard pickup. The Eagles look pretty sharp.
They sure do. This looks like one of those games like a San Diego and San Francisco or San Diego and Cincinnati where they have that type of thing, up and down the field.
Jaworski with hands in pockets, checking over with Dick Vermeil over on the sideline. The Eagles trying to keep hopes alive and trying to beat Dallas. Playoff hopes don't really enter into that. They always would love to beat this team. Montgomery bounces off one tackle, hit by John Dutton first, and then finally goes down in the grasp of Everson Wall.
I think it's interesting, you know, last night Dick Vermeil was a little worried about Frank Giddens starting there at right tackle and having to block too tall against the pass. He said against the run, I don't worry about it because he's one of the best run blockers that we have. And at 6'7", 300 pounds, that's a pretty big guy. You know, he's one of 10 kids.
One of the few times that too tall faces somebody an equal physical status, at least, in terms of regular size. Is Montgomery again. Barnes on the stop. Right now for an update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, here's the play that kept the San Francisco playoff hopes alive. Kansas City was driving for a winning touchdown. Ronnie Lott, the star of a year ago, will step up and intercept Bill Kinney's pass. He'll go the distance, 83 yards. The Niners win it 26-13. And right now, let's send you back to Pat Summerall and John Madden in Dallas.
At rainy Texas Stadium, Brent. Third down and 4 with 2:13 left. The Eagles with no success. Only once did they win here in this ballgame. Montgomery inside the 20, first down Philadelphia to about the 17. Too tall, Jones tripped him up.
The Eagles had a lot of movement on that play. They were shifting back and forth. And of course, the Cowboys had their pass defense in. Their 6 defensive backs. They had a lot of adjustments. While they were in the middle of an adjustment, Jaworski just snapped the ball and handed it off to Wilbert Montgomery.
It's 7-7, excuse me.
I was just saying, I think he caught the Cowboys defense a little off balance there.
44 yards and 7 carries for Montgomery. He's the lone setback now. Spagnola in motion. Take to Wilbert. Outside Spagnola. 15, 14, 13. Guy Brown and Dennis Thurman knocked him down.
Here's Spagnola. He lines up with the tight end on the right side, comes across to the left side. That makes that strong. Up the field, just a short little out, catches the ball, turns up, and gets a good position. Let's watch Randy White here. He's number 54 right here. See, he's getting double teamed right through the thing. Boom, boom, and they put him right on his back. He looks up. Where's that ball going?
2nd and 5. Jaworski outside Montgomery. Chased by White. Montgomery head over. Here's a good one. Hit by Everson Wall. And Dennis Thurman.
Shoulder pad back in, Dennis. You know, you always talk about running backs. Great running backs can smell that end zone. When they get close, just boom, you know, they're just going to hit that thing. Watch what Montgomery does here. He can smell the end zone right here on the 5. He tries to dive from the 5-yard line into the end zone, and he only came up a yard short.
What a hit. Montgomery's okay. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Philadelphia Eagles 7 and Dallas 7. But the Eagles back at the door once again, trying to recapture that lead. Philadelphia 7, Dallas 7, first and goal Eagles. At the Dallas 1. Yards rushing, 44, all by Montgomery for Philadelphia. 46, a total of 90. Jaworski calls him and brings him out of the huddle. First play of the second quarter, scored tied 7 apiece. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 3 tied in. Leroy Harris makes it looking, waltzes into the end zone behind Montgomery's block.
He got another good block by his left guard, Steve Kenny. We'll see it here. See, there's only one back in the backfield. Now watch the left guard, number 73, pull out. You see, he comes there, turns back to the inside, and gets the middle linebacker, Danny Stradlin. And that's the block to put Leroy Harris in the end zone. Those guards, I like those guards pulling out, turning back, blocking linebackers, that type of stuff.
Especially in the rain.
In the rain, yeah, but there's no mud. What's wrong with artificial turf? Rain doesn't make mud.
John Shira will hold for Tony Franklin. The Barefoot's got to be cold today. 14-7. Philadelphia over Dallas. 14:57 left to play in the first half. The Eagles came today with a serious idea. That's the story of the Eagles scoring drive. 8 plays, 55 yards. They kept it 4 minutes, 13 seconds. Leroy Harris scored the touchdown. Fellows and Newsom back deep for the Cowboys as Fellows comes up. Handles it about the 14, and Fellows fumble. Angelo King fell on it. But I think one more time he was down and the whistle had blown. Gimona is the one who made the hit.
Watch Gimona come in here. Fellows is just starting up. He just tripped him there. The ball goes down again. Of course, the ground can't cause a fumble. So Fellows had the ball when he hit the ground. And when he hit the ground, the ball bounced out. But that's a couple too many times you do that. You know, that's the second time Fellows has fumbled on a kickoff return.
First and 10 from the 28. Philadelphia 14, Dallas 7. Drew Pearson goes in motion to the right. White. A lot of time. Still a lot of time. Cosby had it, dropped it.
Let's watch Dennis Harrison here, number 68, the leading sacker in the NFL. He's going against Jim Cooper, and of course going against Kurt Peterson. They have him doubled. The tackle on him, the guard on him, the guard on him, the tackle on him, boom, boom. That's the way you take care of the leading sacker in the league. You put 2 guys on him.
Good job by Peterson. Kept his balance.
Frustrated defensive linemen. You know, they get a little paranoid when you get 2 blocked.
You beat 1. Then you expect to see the quarterback next. Not another blocker. Second and 10 from the 28. Pearson again in motion to the right. Hand off Dorsett. Dorsett ducks to the outside, gets nothing. Loss by Jerry Robinson. Right now for an update, let's once again go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Terry Bradshaw came back with a vengeance this afternoon against New England. He was 17 of 27 for 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. This one to running back Greg Hawthorne. And the Steelers are still in the hunt for the Super Bowl. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Do not forget about those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not 3 weeks in a row. It's not going to happen to that team 3 weeks in a row. Once, maybe, twice surprises you. It won't happen the 3rd time.
3rd. 15. Shotgun formation. White. Screen pass. This is Ron Spring. And the Eagles have it defensive. Just perfect. Not even back to the line of scrimmage, and Danny White will have to punt.
The Eagles are really scrambling around that field on defense. And that was the thing that Dick said that they missed this year. You know, being number 1. He said, we went to camp and thought we were number 1, therefore we'll still be number 1, and we didn't work enough on it. He said, the way we have to play, he said, we aren't that good. He said, we have to, everyone on every tackle, running all over the field, hitting, tackling. That's the way we have to play defense, and we haven't been doing it.
Wally Henry back deep for Philadelphia. way back and down quickly. And with a great job is Ron Fellows for Dallas. Good kick and what great coverage.
That was Ron Fellows was the outside man on the right. Of course, the only two men that could go when the ball snapped were the two outside men. He was on the right side. He just flew down the field and got there about the same time the ball did.
Wally Henry had no chance as Fellows was down in a hurry. 12:58 left to play in the first half. Philadelphia 14. Dallas 7. The Eagles have the ball at their own 27-yard line. Pat Summerall with John Madden. Texas Stadium. Montgomery the lone setback. Montgomery quickly to the outside. Breaks one tackle, but not another. As Michael Downs comes up quickly to make the stop. Right now for another update around the NFL, let's go to Brent Musburger.
At the Cleveland Browns are still in the hunt for the playoffs. Left-handed quarterback Paul McDonald goes 18 of 34 for 248 yards, and this 56-yard touchdown pass to Dave Logan. The Browns come from behind to win it 2014. Back to Pat and John.
Driving rain in Dallas. Montgomery has a first down on the pass from Jaworski. Michael Downs makes the tackle, 12-yard gain, however.
This guy is an amazing athlete. He's of course the best runner in the Eagle team. He's one of the best runners in the National Football League. He's also one of the best receivers on the team, if not the best receiver, so they can get the ball to him in a lot of different ways.
First and 10 from their own 41. Spagnola comes in motion. The Eagles with their two tight ends. Harris in front of Jaworski. Scramble for the football. Cowboys have it. Jaworski lost it. Bob Brunick made the recovery.
Watch Jaworski now. It's an I formation play. He didn't get the ball from the center. Looks like as he took the ball and he wanted to bring it in and make his reverse pivot for the handoff, he lost the ball.
And Brunick came up with it. So the Cowboys will have it first and 10 in good shape at the Eagle 36 as Philadelphia leads Dallas 14-7. Philadelphia 14, Dallas 7. Pat Summerall with John Madden at Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys have just recovered a Ron Jaworski fumble.
See that? He really didn't get it. The ball went right through his hands on the snap. I always think that's an automatic play, but it's really a big play.
Brunick made the recovery. Look at the Dallas Cowboys starting middle linebacker since they came into being. Jack Patera first, then Jerry Tubbs from 61 to 65, then the great Leroy Jordan. Around the right side, got about 4. Got a bounce by Richard Blackmore. Right now, let's go again to Brent Musburger in New York.
At the Cincinnati Bengals push their record to 6-2. Quarterback Kenny Anderson went 22 of 29, 255 yards, and this 56-yard scoring strike to David Mercer, a former top draft choice of the Bengals. Right now, let's go back to Dallas and Pat Summerall.
The stadium, it's Philadelphia 14, Dallas 7. We're in the second quarter with 12:09 left to play. Possession so far. Dallas has had the football. Philadelphia, however, has the lead. 2nd and 6 at the 32. Foster started in motion. White. Outside quickly. Tony Hill. Nothing doing. Very slow developing play. Ken Clark out there to make the stop.
One thing that Tony Hill should know by now, that against this Eagle defense, it's always been a swarming defense, that if you get that ball, you better not dance with it. Get it and take it straight up the field. Tony Hill did a little dance out there, and a whole bunch of those green shirts come out and said hello.
You should do your dancing upfield. Landry, bring him back alive.
a late one, Pat. That official looked like he was talked into that one. He didn't say anything, and then Doug Crosby started to complain, started to point to Jerry Robinson, and then the flag came out. Whoa. If you're going to call it right now.
Defensive pass interference. First down.
Watch it. Here's Crosby. He's the number 84. Watch, he'll come up. There's Jerry Robinson, 56. Robinson hit him there. That's legal. He runs into him now, and you see there's nothing there. There's no flag. Now watch Crosby point to him. He said he did it. Now watch the flag go. That's one of those talking into something. I think it could have been called a penalty, but if you're going to call it when it happens. Not when someone talks to you about it.
First down. 11:19 left to go in the first half. Pearson motion this time. White fakes. Crosby, again the receiver. He got about 4 or 5, down to about the 15, 16-yard line. Looked a little shaky.
That's the thing, you know, with the Cowboys, they can send those receivers out, those wide receivers and running backs. Then they just let that tight end work from sideline to sideline underneath all that linebacker coverage. You know, when you have a big target like a Doug Crosby, a Billy Joe Dupree, you can always find those guys when you get in trouble.
Crosby 6'6", Dupree 6'5". Second down, 6 to go. Dorsett. First down to about the 11-yard line. By John White.
And the interesting thing about that is the block that sprung that play that made it possible, besides great running by Tony Dorsett, was Drew Pearson, number 88. Let's see if we can watch it here. Now, it's a reverse play. See, Dorsett starts to his left, does a little turn. Now he comes out here, gets by Harrison. Now watch to the right of your screen. Right there, 88, Drew Pearson got that block, and that's the one that sprung Dorsett to the outside. You know, it's interesting. We were talking to Jerry Tubbs about that, about how when a wide receiver blocks, you usually get a big gain.
Third down and 1. Dorsett drops it. Dallas has it back. Well, the conditions like this are very conducive to the ball being on the artificial turf very often.
Well, the biggest job that the officials have to do in a game like this is to keep the footballs dry. Of course, they have a number of balls here. They can throw them in and out, but they should keep a towel on it when it's on the ground. Fourth down, a big decision here. Looks like the Cowboys are going to go for it.
Herbert Scott is the man who made the recovery. Newhouse comes into the Dallas backfield now. Jay Salvey, their third tight end. 30-second clock down to 10 seconds now. They got to hurry.
The Eagles are tough in short yardage defense.
White. Crosby is wide open. Touchdown. What a great call. Because it worked.
It was a great call, period.
Crosby from Danny White. Fourth and about a foot they have. Shades of Bart Starr.
That's the time to do it. That fourth and a foot, you got that short yardage defense anchored in there. Fake them, hold them, boom, sneak that tight end out.
That's the kind of year it's been for the Eagles. With all respect to Dallas, because they executed well. Raphael Septien with Toronto holding. All even at
14. Fourth down, short yardage. Defense anchored in there. Watch number 84, Crosby. It doesn't even look like it's going to block. He just pushed the linebacker, John Bunning, to the outside. He ran the corner route. No defenders there. What do you think the coach does on a play like that?
There's Tom Landry. Let's look and see what he did.
Put his hand in his pocket, turned away, handed someone his card. He said it's all in a day's work.
That was Jim Myers. He handed his note list to. All in a day's work. 14 apiece.
Tom Landry, and on behalf of the Dallas Cowboys, I want to wish all the listeners a very happy new year.
Very happy moment just seconds ago for Tom Landry. Septian kicks off. Wally Henry and Mel Hoover. Back deep for the Eagles. This is Henry. Fellows made first contact. Henry spun away from him, got after the 25, where the Eagles take over 1st and 10. They've been able to move the football. Scoring drive by Dallas. The touchdown, 11-yard pass on 4th and short to Doug Cosby. 6 plays, 36 yards, 313.
You see where Septién kicked off from? He kicked off from the right hash mark. There's a lot of water on the 35-yard line right in the middle of the field. And the kicker can choose. He can kick off in the middle or anywhere between the 2 hash marks. So he kicked off from the right hash mark. You see, that's good here. You see that rain in the middle there? So he decided he didn't want to step in that, so he went over to the right hash mark and kicked. Pretty smart.
All kickers are not stupid.
Smart kicker, Rafael Septién.
8:51 left first half, 14-14 score. Spagnola in motion. Montgomery has the football. Montgomery barrels out to about the 30. Pick up a 3 or 4. Bob Brunig led the defensive charge. Let's look at some of the other scores around the league. San Diego 16-0 over Baltimore. Poor Frank Bush. The Raiders 17, Denver 0. Poor Dan Reeves. Chicago 17, the Rams 6. Washington 7, New Orleans 7. Don't forget about New Orleans. They played Dallas tough last week. Ron Jaworski trying to keep things warm. 5 out of 6 so far, 58 yards. The lone setback is Leroy Harris. 2nd and 6. Jaworski, Spagnola. Guy Brown knocked it down, left the ball on the ground. Dallas picks it up, and it's on the ground again. But the ball's going to be blown dead.
You know, that's the 3rd time we've seen that in this game where there's a fumble. Again, the officials decided that it was either the whistle had blown or that the fumble was caused by the ground. But that's the 3rd time we've seen that in this half. That was an interesting pass. 3 wide receivers. They all went deep. Spagnola came underneath, and he was all by himself.
Jaworski's booked against the Cowboys. 1 interception today by Everson Walls. Jaworski again blowing on his hands to try to stay warm. Cold rain continues to fall. Montgomery. Wilbert hit down just shy of the 50 by Ed Jones. With a lot of help from a lot of friends.
Let's watch Ed Jones there. He's playing against big Frank Giddens. He moves to the outside. Giddens is trying to block him. He gets his hands on him, plays off, finds Montgomery, and tackles like a linebacker.
Technique very well done there by Ed Jones. Right at midfield. Montgomery 55 yards, 10 carries. Harris the lone setback. Montgomery is split wide to the right. Draw play, Leroy Harris. Up quickly with great authority is Benny Barnes. Talk about your textbook technique. Picture play. There's one.
Let's watch Benny Barnes. He's a strong safety. He's playing here. He's playing against Montgomery. He sees it's a draw. Plays off Montgomery. Makes the tackle back to it. Look at that rain stuff fly around there. See that water? I like that. No mud though. Just a lot of water.
3rd down, 8.
Good place to slide. You know, like one of those water slides.
As Carmichael in motion out of the shotgun, penalty markers down as Jaworski fires. The 30-second clock had expired. The Eagles took too much time.
Delay of game. Offense.
Ed Haggerty. You always felt, I think, John, that he was a lot of good officials around, but that he was one of the best.
I sure did. I had a lot of respect for Pat Haggerty. I thought he was always one of the best for his league. You know, he never changes, no matter what happens. Things get tight, they get exciting, they get argumentative, whatever. Pat Haggerty stays the same. Always calm, he's cool, he's collected. I always had a lot of respect for that guy.
3rd and 13 for Philadelphia. Ron Jaworski. Under fire in Philadelphia. In the eyes of his head coach Dick Vermeil, he still continues to do a very, very fine job. Dallas quits Jaworski down at the 30. Anthony Dickerson came firing and flying through with help from Ed Jones. First sack, loss of 11.
Let's watch it from the end zone. We'll see Dickerson, number 51. He comes from the right side of the screen. He's on a blitz, and we'll see Too Tall Jones coming from the left. Look, there's Dickerson. Jaworski feels it, and there's Jones right there, the two of them. Have to pick up those blitzes.
Max Runniger back to punt for Philadelphia. Pittsburgh leads the league. This is the way the day began. A number of sacks. Fellows back deep for Dallas. In the water and the rain. Good kick by Runniger. Fellows chase it over the sideline, goes out of bounds. Good kick. Under the circumstances, an excellent kick. 5 minutes, 19 seconds left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium. And Dallas Cowboys 14 and the Philadelphia Eagles 14.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish all the people all over the country a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And John Madden and Pat Summerall would like to just add their good wishes to that too. Philadelphia 14, Dallas 14. Coach Vermeil seemed to be in a very good mood last night, didn't he?
He sure was. He seemed confident.
Yes. 14-14 the score. Dorsett is out. Newsom is in with Spring. Springs outside the 25 to the 26. Dallas 14, Philadelphia 14. Rainy, icy.
You get some rain on those face masks. You know, what you need, there's a little mud, a little dirt, and a little grass hanging down there between those bars. That's the trouble with this artificial. Everyone stays too clean. You don't feel like you're down there in the pit, doing all that stuff.
8 yards for Springs. 2nd and 2. A little grass on the face mask. Never. End off Springs. Wrapped up quickly by Carl Hairston. Ken Clark might have gotten a first down. He'd be close.
Carl Hairston is probably one of the best defensive linemen against the run in this league. You know, the Eagles play a three-man line on running downs, and they flex the ends. They play back a little. And Hairston can play inside or outside, and he'll make tackles up and down the line of scrimmage just like a linebacker.
Second on the Eagles with his number of sacks. 3rd and short. 3rd and 1. 3 tight ends for Dallas. Dorsett, with the extra effort, came close. Not really sure he made the first down. Ken Clark was the first Eagle to make contact.
I tell you, if he did, it was a heck of an effort. Jerry Robinson was in the backfield too, and he hit him before he got to the line of scrimmage.
They're going to measure, but Tom Landry really has already conceded. He doesn't think they made it. He said we got to punt the ball.
Let's watch it and see if we can see Jerry Robinson come in here. He's the inside linebacker to the right. You see him shoot the hole right there. Now right in there, he gets a shot. That was Ken Clark there. Excuse me, that wasn't Robinson. Just as you said, right? You said Ken Clark, the nose tackle, moved to the left, got penetration. Any short yardage, you really can't allow penetration by the defensive line.
I'm sure that the Eagles are very much aware of what Danny White might do from punt formation and has done. You run out of there if you're not careful. Wally Henry's back there. He got it. Jerry Robinson made the hit, but White got the first down. Can't believe he did it again.
You called that one. I'll tell you, we were talking to Tom Landry about that yesterday. He said
times he has run out of punt formation, and 17 times he's gotten a first down. Here's Dorsett. Nothing doing as Carl Harrison wraps him up short of the line of scrimmage.
Did you see that play? We were talking about Carl Harrison. He's a right end. Look, he's way over here in the left-handed stand. Now watch him. He's off. He takes the inside, comes flattens down the line, and tackles Tony Dorsett in the backfield on the other side of the field.
Good hustle. Good play. Lost a yard. 2nd and 11. We'll have the 2-minute notification before they run another play as White already has started to stroll over to talk with his coach. So 2 minutes left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium. It's Dallas 14 and the Philadelphia Eagles 14. New Year's Eve. And don't forget the Cotton Bowl. New Year's Day with the Pittsburgh Panthers against SMU. Great athletes for both of those teams. And Marino, who is, as a matter of fact, in the booth with us, will be able to talk to him about what he thinks of SMU and the Cotton Bowl at halftime. 2nd and 11. 2 minutes to play first half. Point. Oh, knocked away, almost intercepted by John Bunting. Had some wet green patches, but no defenders in between him and the goal line. Dorsett, excuse me.
That's a linebacker's dream, Pat, because he saw that one. Watch him be in the right-hand side of the screen. We'll see, there's supposed to be a quick pass out here. Bunting starts up the field, sees Dorsett going to the outside, gets between Danny White and Tony Dorsett, and darn near had 6 points. This guy's dream of that.
That'll make it 3rd and 11. The number 1 offensive team in the NFC. Springs was the man in motion. White, good throws. Had a first down, dropped it. On Mansfield back there on defense. And Danny White will once again go back and pass in punting formation. This time I don't think Johnny will run.
I don't think so either, but he was thinking that last one went all for naught. He did it. He got the first down. And then, of course, they go 3 downs and they have to punt again. Tom Lander's probably yelling, punt, 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 Danny, please.
Wally Henry back deep for the Eagles. And this time he will. Another good kick. Done once again. Fellows is down quickly. Misses this time, but there. And the Dallas coverage is good. Danny Spradlin, 45-yard kick. And a minimal return. Dallas does a good job covering. Good kick by White. 14-14, 141 left first half. At Summerall with John Madden, Texas Stadium. The home of the Cowboys. Tied at 14 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys need a victory to ensure themselves of the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Eagles need a victory to stay alive in the playoff chase. Jaworski outside Montgomery. Had it. Ron Smith, I beg your pardon. Pass is picked off by Dennis Thurman, and now they say no.
I think they say yes.
Yes, they do. Now they do, yes.
They say it's an interception, but Dennis Thurman was down, so the Cowboys will get the ball back there. Worst to say, what do you have to do? Throw it right into Ron Smith's arm. Watch here. Here's Dennis Thurman. Ron Smith is coming off the line. He's going to run a little stop or hook pattern. Now watch, the ball is thrown right in his chest. He has it, starts to run. It bounces out of his hand right into Dennis Thurman's hand. The official blew the ball dead right there.
Talking to Dennis before the game, he said, when I get my first interception, say hello to Mom. And when I get my second one, say hello to whoever you want to. So hi, Mom. First down, Cowboys, the Eagle White puts it to work. Going for Cosby, who is open and got it. Cosby inside the 10 to about the 7. John fought him back there with him and dragged him out of bounds. 29-yard pickup. White to Doug Cosby.
I think the Cowboys lulled him to sleep on this one, Pat. They've been running Cosby across in motion like this. Now watch him. He comes across. He runs a little short out. Go on, Doug. Up the field and now out. They've been throwing the ball there. Now he stops, turns, gets bunting to come up, turns and runs right by him up the field. I think they lull him. They've been throwing that short out to him all day, and they started that out, boom, and then turned right up the field.
And he did a very good job of acting himself, slowing down, looking back, and turned it on and up. 5 catches for Cosby. Off the left side, Dorsett this time, inside the 5. Clock running, a minute, 20 seconds left first half. Cowboys have 2 timeouts. The Eagles have all of theirs.
Sure, the Cowboys don't want to take a timeout here. They want to eventually score, but they want to run as much time off the clock as they can so that when they score, the Eagles won't have any time to do anything this half.
From the 4, second down, and goal. Set up, Salvi set up to the left as the flanker, now in motion, the inside trap that they've run for years. Dorsett behind Salvi, down to about the 2.
I used to always say that. You see Jay Salvi come in, and you watch him in motion and follow him, and he'll show you where the ball's going. Watch him. He's a man here, 87. Watch, just follow him, see? He leads right in there, and watch what's coming right in behind him. The ball and Tony Dorsett.
Third down then from the 2, 25 seconds left to play, and the clock's still running.
I bet it's that play pass type of thing, but they've already scored once on. The Cowboys are going to take time out now. We'll see what Tom Landry's thinking, but they've had great success with that, faking a run to Dorsett, bootlegging out with a quarterback, Danny White, and he has the option to run or pass.
1 timeout remaining. They return after this word. The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League, and thank you, Frank Lemaster. 14-14, that's the timeout situation. Cowboys have it 3rd and goal at the 2 with 15 seconds remaining in the first half. Like the rain has stopped, at least for the moment. Maybe a little bit still drifting down. 3rd down. Springs and Dorsett. Salvi sets up to the left. Hand off once again. Dorsett didn't make it. Carl Heston, first man to hit him.
Now what do the Cowboys do? They have 5 seconds. 4th down. I think the fact that they ran the ball. Let's watch the linebackers here. I think they're going to go for it on 4th down is what I'm trying to say. You see both the inside linebackers hitting the hole. That was Jerry Robinson there who made contact at the line of scrimmage.
Dallas has just used their last timeout.
I don't think they're going to use the kicker. I think when they decided to run, they said we'll go for it once. If we don't get it, we'll run it a second time. Over there. Looks like, is that Drew Pearson on the left who's offered him some suggestions?
Jim Myers behind him.
They're going to kick it.
Now they've decided that it's time for Septien. But again, don't forget that his holder, when Carano, is also a quarterback.
The other thing we can't forget is that was very good goal line defense by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ball is just inside the 1-yard line, 4th down. And Coach Landry has decided, let's go ahead and kick it. Toronto will kneel at about the 8, making it an 18-yard field goal. At the end. Regimented steps all together. And yes, sir. Dallas captures the lead. Both Teams back on the field. 17-14 the score. The Cowboys on an 18-yard field goal with 2 seconds remaining in the first half took the lead for the first time today. Cowboys will receive the and perhaps one of the most bitter rivalries in the history of the NFL.
Merry Christmas.
You know those guys, John?
You always wonder what goes on in the truck down there. Now we see they just sit around wishing each other Merry Christmas.
So those who make our job so easy, sitting down in the truck underneath Texas Stadium. Tony Franklin will kick off. Ron Fellows and Timmy Newsom back deep for Dallas. It's Fellows at 5. Pretty good looking wedge in front of him. And now it all comes apart, and Fellows is down at the 24 by Mike Curcio. Halftime stats: first downs 9 for Philadelphia, 8 for Dallas, and the rest of that story.
I tell you, the big part of the story is the turnovers there. You look, the Eagles had 3 turnovers. The Cowboys only had 1, and that's the big difference here because the Eagles, offensively and defensively, really played well. And it's just the turnovers that have put them behind by 3.
Dallas first down. 14:51 left to go, third quarter. Dallas ball at their own 24. Dorsett and Springs, the 2 runners. Dorsett goes very, very deep. 10 yards back of the ball. Springs gets carry, and Springs gets 4 or 5 straight ahead. Stopped by Frank LeMaster.
We're talking about the Eagle defense really playing well today. They've had Tony Dorsett's number in the first half. He carried the ball 16 times. He had 25 yards for a 1.6 average. So they're keying on number 33 today.
Tony Dorsett, of course, I'm sure you know, had some chest pains. There was some doubt about whether or not he'd be able to play. Doctors gave him a 100% okay. Still, he is obviously concerned. Second and 5, first down. Drew Pearson dances out of bounds outside the 35-yard line. Roynell Young, the first man made.
What they found in Tony Dorsett is that he'd been hit in the back and he had a back spasm, and somehow the spasm from the back had gone around to his front and it caused chest pain. That scared him, so he went to the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking it could be something wrong with his heart. Of course, they found that it was a result of the back spasm.
Tom Landry has gone from being the best dressed to being just warm.
Like a coach now.
That's Dorsett in motion. This is Springs off to the left side. Nothing doing on first down. By LeMaster first. Jerry Robinson over to help out. Maybe a yard, no more.
Ron Springs has a tough job. You know, if the Cowboys are going to run the ball, they're going to run the ball to Tony Dorsett. So Ron Springs has to be a blocker, and then every once in a while when they're keying on Dorsett, he's having a problem, they'll give the ball to Springs on some type of counteraction. But, you know, that has to be that type of player that is really a team player, and that's what Ron Springs has turned out to be.
It'll be second and 8. That's what happened, what John Madden was talking about against the Redskins. Dorsett straight ahead. Couple. Ken Clark done a good job in front of Rafferty at the nose guard position today. So it'll be third down. Cowboys send in their pass receiving troops. I know that during the half, John, Dick Vermeil was complaining rather vehemently to the officiating crew that the Cowboys were substituting too late. They waited until the last second before they sent anybody in.
That's okay to do if you don't have too many men in the huddle. If you have too many, you know, if you have 13 or 14 of them in the huddle, that's illegal.
Third and 5. White. Pass was in the direction of Springs, batted down by Jerry Robinson, and Danny White will have to punt. Got off some, considering the weather conditions, the rain and the slick ball and everything else. Danny White and Runniger, his only attempt, got off some good kicks in the first half.
You were talking about that rule and Dick Vermeil complaining. Before we didn't have a rule about it, and you would put in like 14, 15 men in the defensive huddle, and then you would run 3 of them out just before the ball was snapped. Now, you can't do that anymore, but you can substitute anytime you want to.
Rafferty will snap to White. This one he doesn't get. Wally Henry watches it go out of bounds, and the Eagles will take over at their own 23-yard line, 1st and 10. Their first possession of the second half. 35-yard punt by White. That's Coach Tom Landry. Christmas package.
He's taking that award seriously, isn't he? That best dressed man.
Best dressed reindeer man. First down, Philadelphia. 23. Ron Jaworski, of course, the quarterback. This back no lane motion. Pitches back to Wilbert Montgomery. Montgomery hit down by Michael Downs, but good yardage, about 7 for Wilbert. Harvey Martin helped out.
That play to the left has been very successful for the Eagles. They haven't gained much going to their right, but working back outside of Harvey Martin, running right at Guy Brown, has been successful.
Second down, about 3. Here's what happened on first down plays so far. The Eagles rushes 10, passes 4. They average 4-2 running, 4-8 passing. Neither one is too bad. Still trailed by 3. Montgomery has a first down tripped up by Bob Brune.
Yeah, they find something over there that they like. Running to the left side. Now watch Montgomery here. See a pretty good block there again by Leroy Harris. Watch what happens when he hits the ground.
It occurs to me, John, that we have not once today, except when he was double teamed, mentioned the name Randy White.
I don't think we've mentioned Harvey Martin too much.
Not much. First and 10 from the 34. Spagnola again doing the moving. Jaworski throw. Brunick chasing. Jaworski just throws it away. Closest Eagle, but nobody was really close to that one.
That was one thing that Jaworski had to do there on 2nd and long. He scrambled out to the right. He really didn't. He had one fast receiver short, one deep, neither of them open. So he didn't want to force anything, so he just threw it away. Said, at least we can play with 3rd down now.
Some of the other scores, 3rd quarter, Washington 17, New Orleans 7. The Jets 21, Minnesota 7. And San Diego beat Baltimore 22-10. Colts still wins. Harry Harrington is the lone setback this time for Philadelphia. Jaworski outside Harrington. Blockers in front. Good yardage. About 9. Everson Walls came up to make the force. Guy Morris out in front of Harrington. Ed Jones in pursuit.
That's one of those things that, you want to get the ball back, get something back. And we see the screen pass. We see Harrington out here. He's running out to the right. It's a screen pass. The lineman can come down in front of him. We see Guy Morris. He's going to miss there. He doesn't get that block, and that allows Everson Walls to get in and make the tackle. Had Guy Morris blocked Walls, that would have been enough to get the Eagles a first down.
It'll be 3rd and 3 as it is. The Eagles' own 41-yard line. Jaworski. Fumble. Benny Barnes, I think, came up with a football. It was Leroy Harris who lost it, and Dallas has it.
Hey, that's the 4th turnover for the Eagles.
Boy, John, you go over those stats, and you look at that big one right there, turnovers. And and you look at who has the most turnovers, and you see a lot of folks in that L column lost.
My name is Rafael Septién, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and in Spanish is Feliz Navidad y Próspero Año Nuevo.
Ole.
Was that the second thing you said?
I was going to ask you.
I know Feliz Navidad.
It's first down, Dallas at their own 48-yard line. They lead 17-14. Fumble by the Eagles has given Dallas possession. Set the lone setback. He throws back to White. White dodges, runs away from a few folks, and he's got some room. Andy White down the sideline to the 31-yard line. What a remarkable athlete he is. 19 yards.
That's what you need, that quarterback that when he gets in trouble can get out. He'll even smile a little about that one. Danny liked that one himself. What happened, it really didn't fool the Eagle secondary. Watch, this is the old flea flicker. Hand off to Dorsett. He stops. Pitches back to White. White's looking deep. There's no one there. Double coverage. Good job by Bernard Wilson deep. He has to run. Escapes to the outside. Sees the sideline. The first down. Gets it all.
Down to the 33. Ron Springs was the lone setback this time. The pass of White. Penalty markers down from everywhere. Complete to Tony Hill. But flags come flying. The Eagles disgusted. Pat Haggerty will tell us why.
Number 46, defense. Defensive pass interference. First.
Herman Edwards. Pass was complete.
It was complete. And you talk about threading a needle. Watch this one. You see Tony Hill out here. He's running a slant right there. Now watch, right between the corner and the linebacker, he just zipped that thing right in there. What a throw. Now that was a football throw.
Excellent. First down, Cowboys. Eagle 21, 9:58 left, third quarter. Dallas leading 17-14. Dorsett. Skates for a couple, and the penalty marker comes flying in once again. Bunting on the tackle.
Eagles look a little frustrated on defense.
Face mask, 5 yards.
Unintentional face mask violation. Carl Harrison upset about things.
You can't get too upset. Those things are going to happen. They're over with. The most important play is the next one. You get 2 penalties in a row. It does kind of, it frustrates you some. It's been a frustrating year for him. But doggone it, the play that's over is over. It's the next one. See if we can see the face mask here. Here's Dorsett coming in. Didn't gain any yardage right there at the line of scrimmage.
To be called against Bunting. Number 13. Hill knocked away on a great defensive play at the last second by Roynell Young. Tony Hill was thinking touchdown. Roynell made a good play.
It's that little quick up. We'll see Danny White. He'll take a 3-step up. 1, 2, 3, boom. Put it up in the air. Throw it at that second pylon down there to Tony Hill. Good coverage by Roynell Young. Watch right at the end here. Roynell Young will get his hand up. See the left hand up and just knock the ball right out of Tony Hill's hand.
Just perfect timing. There it is again.
There's the left hand right up there knocking it out.
Third down, 2 from the 13. Drew Pearson hastily in motion. Blitz is on against Danny White. Gets away from one. Throws end zone. Intercepted. Jerry Robinson made the save, and the Eagles will come back to the 20. Big play for the Eagle defense. I know that the one
20 after the interception by Robinson. Dallas leading Philadelphia 17-14, third quarter. In Irving, Texas, the home of the Cowboys, not too far from that Cotton Bowl. Last 4 times the Eagles have had the ball, that's what's happened to them. Jaworski to Leroy Harris. Harris bounces out of one pile. It was wrapped up by Guy Brown right at the 21-yard line.
You always tell that offside linebacker to stay at home, and that's the reason. The play starts to the right. Harris starts in there. There's nothing there. He bounces back to his left, and there's Guy Brown waiting for him. Sometimes you want those linebackers to be aggressive. You know, they all have that look in their eye. They're a little strange anyway. But you don't want them all just to run and jump on the pile. Someone has to keep containment.
So it's 2nd and 9 from the Eagle 21. Carl Jones did not encroach. But he did, he got back. Jaworski. Complete. Ron Smith. Outside the 40 to the 43. Dennis Thurman knocked him down, a 22-yard pickup.
Yeah, in that play, the Eagles had good pass protection. We've talked about Frank Giddens starting in there and having to block too tall Jones. He's really doing a pretty good job. The Cowboys are trying to stunt and do different things to confuse him, but he's blocking pretty well over there.
Jaworski is now 9 out of 12 for 111 yards, the 2 interceptions, one of which certainly was not his fault. And the other was a good play by Wall. Carmichael, both wide to the right. Here is Montgomery. This time a Dallas defense led by Brunig reacts quickly.
The Cowboys use that flex defense, and that frees the middle linebacker, Bob Brunig, and they've been having trouble on their right defensive side or the Eagles' left side with that run to Montgomery. Looks like they probably called some stunt that would free Brunig up so that he could get to the outside, the scrape. That's what coaches call it, scrape technique.
Cowboys leading tackler the last 5 years. You would expect their defensive philosophy because he is the middle linebacker. They'll try their best to keep blockers from getting at him. 2nd down. Jaworski under pressure gets it outside to Harris. Danny Barnes comes up, forces inside. Mike Hegman and John Dutton knock him down about 2 yards short of a first down.
That was a fierce pass rush coming at Ron Jaworski, and he did a nice little job of moving there. Watch it from his left now. We'll watch it from the end zone. Jaworski will come back. Now watch from the left-hand side of your screen. There's a little stunt. See Harvey Martin coming inside. Jaworski feels that now. Feels Martin. Here comes White to the inside. Just goes to the outside and finds his fullback, Leroy Harris.
3rd down, 1. 48. Leroy Harris has the Philadelphia first down, but penalty markers make another appearance.
A nice little move by Harris because the Cowboys blitzed their middle linebacker, Bob Brunig, trying to blitz him in the hole, and Harris just made a little cut to his left.
Encroaching, number 79, defense.
There's encroaching. I was wondering what happened to it. Thanks, Pat. The old encroachment play. Watch the blitz. Now watch the middle linebacker there. There's Brunig. See the guy in the back there. Watch him. He's starting to move before the ball snap. He's guessing that's a hole. He had the right hole, and then Leroy Harris made a nice little move to the left to get the first down.
Took advantage of the block by Guy.
Encroaching, number 79, defense.
The encroaching person was Harvey Martin.
If I were a defensive lineman, I'd rather have him say, hey, you were offside. I like, rather than encroach.
Either that or the neutral zone. I wouldn't want that.
The encroach is probably each piece.
6:22 left, third quarter. 17-14 Dallas. Ball at the Cowboys 43. Jaworski. Montgomery. Montgomery off to the left. Once again, tripped up by Bob Bruni. Montgomery, 14 carries, 70 yards. He had a 90-yard touchdown run last week against Houston.
There are some running backs that get better the more they carry the ball in a game. I think Wilbert Montgomery is that type. He already has 70 yards. That's not bad. Tony Dorsett only has 32. Not a big day for Tony Dorsett, but a big day for Wilbert Montgomery, the starting one.
2nd and 7. Dallas Fort. Jaworski deep. Ron Smith, the intended receiver, back there with him, Everson Wall.
Everyone wants to work on Everson Walls. It started last year. I mentioned before he's a rookie free agent. I'll tell you, you do that too many times and you're going to have one back coming back at you. See, that was a little stop and go. Started the outside stop. Now, he could have had a better shot at that had he run through it. He started to slow up to get his hands up. Had he just run through that ball, Ron Smith would have had a better chance to catch it.
Shimona joins Montgomery in the backfield, the shotgun backfield for Philadelphia. Jaworski. Cowboys blitzing, Gutton chasing. Too tall Jones tripping. Takes him down. Big Ed Jones.
I'll tell you, Ed Jones made the play, but the guy that caused it was Harvey Martin. Let's watch it from the end zone. Now here's Jaworski in the shotgun. Now watch from the left here. That's the first pressure he feels. Here comes Harvey Johnson. Here comes Too Tall Jones. He'll come up again. He makes a tackle, open field tackle, just like a linebacker. But Harvey Martin broke free right off the line, made Jaworski run out, forced him out into Too Tall.
The Cowboys see that shotgun. They come with a blitz, and that's the second sack that they've had. Fellows back deep. Runiger gets off a rocket. Fellows, the 8. Takes away from a couple of people. Inside the 20 to the 22. Zach Valentine came down to make the stop. 43-yard punt, 14-yard return by Ron Fellows. With 4:59 left third quarter, Dallas still leads by 3, 17-14. Next Sunday, CBS Sports will bring you an NFL doubleheader, starting with the NFL today. Just as simply as it can be put, I suppose, those who have 5 victories or more are in the playoffs. Those who have 3 or 4 still have a chance. A lot of things can still happen next week as Green Bay's at Detroit, Atlanta, New Orleans, Rams at San Francisco. Matt and I will be in Philadelphia next Sunday. You see the people who have clinched playoff spots. They'll go for the Super Bowl tournament. Dallas, Washington, Green Bay, Atlanta, all in already. White. Crosby complete. Out of bounds after about an 8-yard pickup. Knocked out of bounds by Randy Logan.
Watch that Doug Crosby. He lines up all over the field. He lines up on the right side, goes to the left side, goes to the right. We'll see him here. He's outside as an outside receiver, which brings the strong safety, Randy Logan, out there man-to-man in the open field. Doug Crosby just runs a little out in front of him.
Crosby, that big target, has caught 6 passes.
Move him around.
Dorsett. First down for Tony to the 35. Carl Hairston tripped him up. Dorsett picks up the Dallas first down. Clock running 4:40 left to play in the third quarter, and Dallas leading by 3, 17-14.
I'm not sure I'd be able to sleep. It's the day after Christmas. She had a big day yesterday. Santa Claus got there early. She had to play with the toys all day, the dolls and things. Today she's just completely exhausted.
Maybe I would be able to sleep. White on the draw play to Dorsett. And Tony has some room. Another Dallas first down to the 45. Dennis Harrison made the stop.
And it was a delay play or a draw play right up the middle. Let's watch the center, Tom Rafferty here. Number 64. You see, he gives the ball a one-handed snap. He invites that nose tackle up, and then he goes to the outside, and he kicks out the linebacker, Frank Lemaster. That was an interesting type of blocking. The guy over him, blocks him, lets him go, and then goes and gets the next man, the linebacker.
10 yards for Dorsett, his biggest run of the day. Longest. 17-14 the Cowboys. 3:25 left to play third quarter. White. Time, dodges, jumps around, throws to Dorsett. They say he was in the grass. And that was the sack by John Bunting.
They don't like that grass. That's one of the things that the NFL is trying to do to cut down on injuries to the quarterback. When he gets in the grass, when anyone gets a hold of him. Now watch here. We'll see him. He starts to scramble, has to stop, comes back. We see John Bunting had a hold of him there, and the official blew the whistle. First with Danny White, he's never down till he's down, or whatever one of those sayings. Never over till it's over.
The blitz and the sack story. 2 and 2.
Dallas had both of their sacks with a blitz.
Second down and White comes slowly away from the center, throws to Tony Hill, first down at the Eagle 44. Good throw and a fine catch. Hit down by Bernard Wilson, 19-yard gain.
That shows what an athlete Danny White is. He fumbled the ball in a snap. Fumbled the ball, dropped it, picked it up. Now watch it from the end zone. He starts back here, drops the ball, bends over, picks it up, continues his drop back, and finds Tony Hill up here running an in pattern for a first down. Now that's tough. Take the ball, fumble it, drop it, step, pick it up, run back some more, and find the guy open. I like that guy. If I were ever coaching again, I'd like to have Danny White. He probably wouldn't like me.
I bet he would.
Yeah. I'd let him call his own plays.
Danny White, pass complete. Tony Hill again. Pick up the play. Jerry Robinson made the hit. Yard shy of a first down, but down to the Eagle 35.
Remember in training camp, as we see Tony Hill, he looked like he has a little injury there. Remember in training camp, Tom Landry was saying that Tony Hill was the most improved Cowboy this year. He and Michael Downs, he said. Watch a little hook, boom, turn it up. Good tackle. Jerry Robinson.
And Hill goes out of the game. Al Levan over talking with him along with John McAdoo. Handoff is to Springs this time, and he'll have the Cowboy first down. John Bunting made the stop.
I think what frustrates a defense against the Cowboys, they do so many things. They line up all over the field. You never know where they are. But they hold on to the ball so long that you just want to, you don't get that free and punt. That tends to frustrate you a little.
They have so many ways to get it done. So many individuals. Tony Hill back in the game now. Lined up as the flanker on the right side. Cosby split wide left. Now Cosby moves in motion. The handoff is to Tony Dorsett. Dorsett still on his feet down to the 20-19. Hit by Roy Nell Young first. But Dorsett banging away. Herman Edwards to help. 14-yard gain.
I don't know if he was hit by Roy Nell Young or he hit Roy Nell Young. I think he was the hitter instead of the hittee. But watch this quickness of Dorsett. A little delay, big hole in there. Now watch him. A great running back always finishes off runs. Watch Roy Nell Young here, 43. Boom! Roy Nell Young goes back. Dorsett's in.
And that runs out the third quarter. And as John Madden was just saying, they keep the ball a long time, don't they? They still lead 17-14 at the end of 3.
Is sponsored by the wine cellars of Ernest and Julio Gallo. And by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge.
It's all with sleep later on. Right now, everything seems to have quieted down. Drew Pearson stood out at the bottom of your picture. That's Crosby who just made the last move and now goes in motion. White. Tony Hill, the intended receiver, back there with him. Roynell Young in good shape. Jukes and the moves didn't work.
Here's Tony Hill. Now watch, he's trying to make a little outside move, then he decides to come back inside, but it didn't fool Roynell Young. Roynell Young, he was right there with him.
Tony Hill, the thrill man. Whizzing by us on the freeway yesterday.
Sure did. We didn't have a chance to catch him either, did we?
No. Well, we had a bigger load. Door set down to about the 16. Frank Lemaster tripped him up, and now a little strenuous scuffle. Bert Peterson upset with somebody, like Reggie Wilkes maybe, or Frank Lemaster.
Or John Bunting. It looked like Wilkes came in and grabbed John Bunting and spun him around. Now he's clapping and said, we're okay, we're okay. We're going out. We guys take care of it.
Just remember who it was. Danny White down in the huddle. He's gotten the message from the coach. 11th play of this drive started way back at the 22-yard line. 3rd and 7. Intended for Tony Hill, Bernard Wilson right there with him once again.
Seems like Danny White has been looking all over the field for Tony Hill and Doug Crosby. I don't remember a pass being thrown yet to Drew Pearson. One pass, huh?
One short sideline. He caught for a first down right in the opening minutes of the second half.
And it seems like everyone else, and he used to spread them about half and half, but doesn't seem to be looking Drew Pearson's way as much as he is Tony Hill.
Toronto will hold from 34 yards out. Raphael Septien kicking. Left to play in the football game, and Dallas up by 6. Phil Septien watching that one go through from the sitting position. We'll return to Texas Stadium after this word from your local station.
Hi to the Dallas Cowboys, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
He did that in one take. I told him he should consider the broadcasting. Septien will kick off. Wally Henry has it bounce away from him and out of the end zone. Dallas had the ball 12 plays and 6 minutes and 3 seconds in that last drive when they got the field goal.
I'll tell you, that really takes a lot out of a defense. You know, some people say that the possession thing isn't a big thing, but it really is. That means that your defense, the Eagle defense is out there. The offense doesn't have the ball. They can't do anything about it, and it really is something that is a morale breaker.
Cowboys 20, Philadelphia 14. Big Ed Too Tall Jones, 6'9", 280. The kind of possession we were just talking about is a factor. Montgomery chased by Randy White and Benny Barnes, and those two take him down. Hegman also there.
They have that right side figured out defensively now, because that's where the Eagles will make all their yardage, to their left side or the right side of that Cowboy defense. It's like they're getting either Randy White involved in it in a stunt or the middle linebacker.
Randy White, interesting, he came back to training camp, what, 270, John?
Yeah, like 273.
He's back down to 254 or something like that. Montgomery is the lone setback, and he comes out of the backfield. Back in the air, John Dutton. Ron Smith was the receiver that Jaworski had in mind. If you look at that Dallas front four, Dutton 6'7", too tall. Really not too tall, 6'9". Harvey Martin 6'5", and Randy White 6'4".
As we'll see Dutton come in there. Dutton, too tall. Too tall Dutton, too tall Jones, too tall Martin, too strong White.
Carmichael. There's a pirouette. Pass is incomplete, intended for Mike Quick. Incomplete. Ron Fellows on the defense, and Roniger will make an entry.
Watch Ron Jaworski here, and his reaction. He sees the ball again. Another one pops out. He says, "Shoot! What do we have to do?"
Right now, what they have to do is put in number 4, Max Roniger, averaging 42.5 yards. Ron Fellows, who has turned into an excellent punt returner, back deep. Roniger standing at his own 6. Another good kick. Fellows gets a block in front of him from Newsom. Had a little room, gets to the 45, 46 perhaps. John Shira, first man down, number 21, made the stop on Ron Fellows. 41-yard punt, 7-yard return. 20-14, Dallas.
I'm Max Roniger of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'd like to wish you a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Like he really means it. Thank you, Max. 12:55 left to play. It's Dallas 20, Philadelphia 14. The Eagles have only won once here. Dallas first down plays. That's a pretty good average in both categories, rushes and passes. Dorsett, 4-3. Jerry Robinson, 50 mark.
You know, Dorsett is one of those type of running backs that like Russian roulette. You know, you stop him, you stop him, but you can never feel comfortable that you have his number. You know, there's still some shots in there that could finish the day for you.
That chamber is never empty.
That's great.
Dorsett goes out now. Timmy Newsom has replaced him. Ron Springs also. Springs alone second. Now they go with 2 tight ends. And they get to Springs. And Springs surges off to the left side, about a yard shy of a first down, but a penalty marker is down. We'll check that, and then we want to bring you up to date on some of the other scores around the NFL. Haggerty says holding against Dallas. Here are some of the other scores. Fourth quarter, Washington 17, New Orleans 10. That one's still in progress. They delayed the start of it. The Jets, a very, very good football team, 28-7 over Minnesota. Chicago 27.
Holding.
Rams 16.
Offense.
Holding against Rafferty. Troubled times in Los Angeles, for the Rams at least, not for the Raiders. 27-0 lately, Denver. San Diego 37, Baltimore 13, third quarter. They'll put some points on the board, won't they?
They sure will.
Second down and 18. Excuse me.
The Raiders will too.
Yeah. That was really something. Second down. Right, drop play. Fumble. Still loose. Cowboys got it back. Rafferty came up with the ball. The Eagles had a couple of cracks at it, but that's the way things go.
Hey, that's about the third time that's happened today to the Eagles, where there's been a ball on the ground and the Cowboys have come up with it again. Watch it again, the delay. Same play, little move there by Dorsett. The ball gets knocked out right there. It's loose. Now watch Rafferty get in and get the ball right after it bounces to the outside. It just kind of bounced right out to him.
So it'll be 3rd and 12. Line of scrimmage is the Dallas 43. Shotgun formation. Michael. Down he goes. Dennis Harrison with the Eagles' third sack of the day. White had no chance.
Dennis Harrison, they call him Bigfoot. Size 15 shoe. Like that kind of stuff. Again, he's the leading sack man in the league. This is the first year that the NFL is keeping official tracks of sacks. Let's watch it now. He starts at the left, comes to the right, all the way out the right-hand side of your screen, off a blocker, and chases and catches Danny White from behind. That was a good move. He had to run a long way to get there.
He earned that sack. It's worth keeping track. White. Henry at the 35. Gets away from one to the 38. Angelo King. Finally brought it down, 36-yard punt. A 3-yard return. So with 10:53 left to play, the Eagles will have it 1st and 10 at their own 38. They trail 20-14.
New Year's Day on
In addition to the Cotton Bowl next week on CBS, next Sunday the NFL. Of course, the beginning with the NFL today, and the Giants at Philadelphia. St. Louis at Washington. Chicago, Tampa Bay. The Bucs still alive in the playoff quest. Green Bay at Detroit. Atlanta, New Orleans. Rams at San Francisco. It's the extra game. And the standings look like this. Those Dallas, Washington, Green Bay, Atlanta, and St. Louis already in the playoffs. You have 5 you're in the NFC. Some teams still looking to get in. Wilbert Montgomery split out wide. Here's Jaworski. Looking deep and throwing. Pass is caught complete by Wilbert Montgomery. What an athlete he is.
We were talking about that early. You know, Dick Vermeil has always thought that he might want to play Wilbert Montgomery to the outside, but every time he puts him outside, he needs him inside. We'll see him here. He's the left end. He's a split wide receiver. He's out to the outside. Good pass protection by the Eagle line. Jaworski finds Montgomery. He's running an in pattern right here, and he catches the ball for a big 1st down.
From Abilene Christian, Wilbert Montgomery. Brother plays with the Raiders. Spagnola in motion. He kicks back to Montgomery. Benny Barnes. Everson Walls. Both up to make the tackle. Walls played that very well. Last 6 times the Eagles have had the ball. 3 punts, 2 fumbles, 1 interception.
You know, you always think of cornerbacks, Dennis Thurman, Everson Walls, you always think of them as pass defenders. When you get a runner like Montgomery, they're the 2 outside men on the run support also. As you said, Everson Walls was right up there, and he really made that play.
Harold Carmichael flanked to the left. Walls over with him. Jaworski has Spagnola. Down to the 22-yard line is John Spagnola. 1st down, Philadelphia. 17-yard gain. The Eagles not out of it yet by any means.
They sure aren't, and that's one of the problems with double coverage. When you bring your corners up, rotate your safeties to the outside, the linebacker has to play man-to-man on the tight end. That time, Mike Hagman was man-to-man on Spagnola, and it got to be a foot race, and it wasn't close.
Spagnola 3 passes caught today for a total of 37 yards. 1st down, Philadelphia. At the Dallas 22, and the Eagles with some uncertainty call a timeout.
Let's watch it from the end zone. Now we'll see both corners are coming up. Both safeties are going to the outside. You can't see that. Spagnola coming underneath. Now look who has to cover him. You can't even see him. On the left of the screen, there was a linebacker, Mike Hagman.
So with that Eagle timeout, they have 2 remaining. Trail the Cowboys 20-14 with 8:45 left. Pat Summerall with John Madden, Texas Stadium. At least Jaworski and Montgomery. Montgomery was hit in the backfield by Ed Jones. Fumble. Eagles keep the ball. The last man to have possession.
It was close, but it didn't work. See, Montgomery fumbled it, and now the Cowboys didn't get control of the fumble before it went out of bounds. Montgomery here, good strength. You'll see the first man here is too tall Jones. He takes a grab at him there to the outside, then he gets by that, then another tackler hit the ball out, knocked him out. Now watch the ball here. If the Cowboys get on it before it gets out of bounds, it would have been their ball. Got on it when the ball was out of bounds.
That was Dennis Thurman who came over at the last second and 5. Ball's at the 17. Jaworski looking right quickly and throwing to Montgomery, who slipped coming off the line of scrimmage. Couldn't get it back together in time to make the reception. Benny Barnes was the defender.
That's one of those problems with those short timing passes. If something happens to your receiver, then you're still forcing the ball in there. Jaworski, because he took a 3-step duck, didn't have a chance to look over the entire field. He had made up his mind he was going to throw to Montgomery. Montgomery not only fell down, but he was also double covered.
So Dallas now puts in extra defensive backs. Dexter, Clinksdale, Fellows. They'll put some pressure on you here. They like to blitz in this situation. This time they don't. Carmichael cradles the ball, goes out of bounds at the 10-yard line. It'll be an Eagle first down. Michael Downs was the defender, but Harold Carmichael got the first down.
Jaworski looks, he's looking all the way at Carmichael, finds him here man-to-man on Michael Downs, just leads him enough for the first down. I get the feeling that both Jaworski and Harold Carmichael knew where that first down marker was.
To 14, Dallas leading, first and 10. Ball's at the 10. Jaworski, Carmichael, touchdown. Everson Walls was the defender, but Carmichael is 6'8", and Jaworski had the ball in a perfect spot. He just outreached him.
You want to celebrate with it or spike it? He's going to carry it, I guess. I'll tell you, Carmichael did a nice job. A basketball thing, he pushed Walls a little before. Let's see if we can watch it. Here, if we can see Carmichael. Well, we don't see him. Jaworski just timing pass, throws it out, up over Walls' head and into the arms of Harold Carmichael.
Not much of a way you could stop something like that. Franklin, score tied 20-20. Shara will hold. Franklin puts the Eagles ahead by 1. 62 yards, 7 plays. And the Eagles recapture the lead 21-20 with 8:25 left to play. Philadelphia fighting to stay alive. Playoff picture.
Tonight on CBS Sports, Denny Crum returns to Pauley Pavilion as he leads Louisville against UCLA. Top 10 action Tuesday night on the home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports.
I'm Ron Jaworski of the Philadelphia Eagles. On behalf of myself, my teammates, we'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Congratulations to Ron Jaworski, who has just set the Philadelphia Eagle career record for touchdown passes. He just passed Norm Snead. He now has 112. James Jones bringing it out for Dallas. Philadelphia now leading the Cowboys 21-20. 27-yard return to Cowboys. Playing for the home team advantage in the playoffs. There is that statistic we gave you just a second ago. Sammy Thompson, Sammy Jurgensen with 76. Norm Snead with 111 and Ron Jaworski with 112. Pretty happy at the moment. Dorsett goes out. Split receiver to the right. Handoff is to Ron Springs, who spins out to about the 34 before Dennis Harrison tripped him up. Fourth quarter score, Washington 20, New Orleans 10. Redskins and the Cowboys, of course, both with records of 6-1 starting today. Jets 28, Minnesota 14. Chicago 27, the Rams coming back a little bit, 27-19. San Diego 37, Baltimore 13. Second and 7 here at Texas Stadium.
Tom Landry felt the same way. You know, we haven't been working for Pearson much or working to Pearson much. Maybe we ought to take a little peek out there and see what he has going. It seemed like they've been going to Tony Hill and Doug Crosby the whole time. Just threw that one to Drew Pearson.
Landry talking to John Makovic. Dallas is only 3 out of 13 in third down conversions and 0 for their last 9 attempts. Here, White, pocket, runs, chased, down he goes, ball still in play, the Eagles have it. The Eagles, Dennis Harrison and Carl Hairston converge, and the Eagles pick it up inbound. Hairston gets down where it'll be first and goal, Philadelphia.
He looked like he was lumbering on that one. He wanted to get there. He just couldn't get it, but there was a happy man. He wanted that touchdown. It was one of those rugby type plays. That ball was bouncing all over. Landers saying, "What's happening to it?" Oh, Hairston said, I did it, I got it, I almost scored." Let's watch it. That shotgun. Now we'll see that the first pressure starts from his left. See, from White's left, puts him to the right where he has some more pressure. Now watch here, this is Greg Brown coming all the way across the field, knocked the ball out of his hands. This one didn't go out of bounds. Carl Hairston picks it up right down the sideline. You know what he was thinking there? Don't fumble it, don't fumble it. So what's he do? Fumble it.
Finally got away, and it's first and goal, Philadelphia at the 4-yard line. Montgomery to the 2. Bob Brunick made the first hit.
About running backs, and we have 2 of them here, 2 great running backs. But one thing about a great running back, they always finish off their run. You know, they run hard, they get squared up. Now watch right at the end, right there, boom, boom, you know, just to get that little extra yard, they'll finish it off.
Lunging forward, got him 2 yards. So it's now second and goal from the 2. Montgomery and Leroy Harris. Montgomery doesn't make it. Brunick, Ed Jones. Jones made the first contact. Brunick finished it off.
This is what it's all about. Down here in the goal line. Look, we're right here at ground level. Defense staying low. Offense staying low. Everyone get a charge. Back lead. Boom. Too tall. Grabs him by the right. You see him? Grabs him back. Brunick pushes him in.
There's Brunick.
Let's watch him. Now he's reading. He knows that he wants his lineman to get low, get out of my way, and he has to keep everything in front of him and make the pile go backwards.
A half yard they need to score. Clock still running, just over 6 minutes left to play. Eagles up by 1. Leroy Harris off the left side. Ball is loose. Scramble. Dallas says they have it. And indeed, that's right. The argument still goes on. I'm not sure. Jones says we got it.
Crowd thinks they have it.
The Eagles don't agree yet.
There's still some guys down there fighting for the ball. The Eagles say they have it. I believe the Eagles. I think it's the degrees. They still have it. They're still down there. Watch number 54, Randy White there. And he's on the bottom of the pile. The ball bounces out. Montgomery's going for it. Right there's Spagnola. Oh, it could be Dennis Thurman or Montgomery.
Or Penny Barnes.
Penny Barnes, excuse me. 31 and 31. It was a green 31 that had it.
That was, of course, Wilbert Montgomery, and now Franklin comes on for the field goal attempt with John Shire holding. Eagles 21, Cowboys 20. Franklin bangs and hits. And so it's the Eagles 24 and Dallas 20 with 5 minutes and 32 seconds left to play.
Tony Franklin was happy after that one. We talked to him last night a lot. It seems like we always run into the kickers wherever we go, but I said, how you doing? He said his left knee's bothering him. So, I mean, that's a tough thing for a kicker because that's his plant foot. He looks pretty good today.
He puts his team ahead 24 to 20 now. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited.
Now the Cowboys need a touchdown. That's put them out of field goal. Of course, there's still 5 minutes, 32 seconds to go, but the Cowboys need a touchdown now.
Franklin to kick off. Finds it in the direction of James Jones at the 5. Jones spins out to about the 24. He's had a bad knee, hasn't been able to play much. Next week, CBS Sports will bring you an NFL doubleheader. Giants at Philadelphia, St. Louis at Washington. Both of them already in the playoffs. Chicago at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers still alive. Green Bay at Detroit. Packers in the playoffs. Atlanta in the playoffs against New Orleans. And the Rams at San Francisco. The top 8 teams in the AFC and NFC all qualify for the Super Bowl tournament. 24-20. Philadelphia over Dallas. The Eagles still with a mathematical chance. White. Intended for Drew Pearson, knocked away at the last minute by Royale Young. Good play.
That was a double coverage. We'll see Royale Young. He's the short man. He lets him go. See, now they're trying to hit Pearson between the short man and the deep man. Royale Young came all the way across. He was a deep man and knocked the ball down.
Herman Edwards is over there to help out. It'll be 2nd and 10. Dallas operating from their own 24-yard line. 5 minutes, 18 seconds left to play. The Eagles 24, the Cowboys 20. Again to throw. And Tony Hill. Double pump by White. Royale Young again the defender. Tony Franklin trying to keep that barefoot warm, I guess.
It has to be something good because he's laughing about it.
Yeah.
He has his foot in the bag.
That's how important kickers are. You got 2 guys to take care of his foot.
Yeah, to warm that thing up. How's it feel now, Tony? Pretty good? Yeah, it's getting warmer. A little warmer. Okay, take it off now. Feel it out. It's good. That's what we got in there. Stuff in there.
Third and 10. Number 24. Right out of the shotgun. Yeah, tough time protecting him back in there. Tony Hill. Incomplete. Springs, I beg your pardon, the intended receiver. Juan Mansfield was right there with it. Dallas will have to punt.
The guy that's doing a good job for that Eagle defense. He's only a rookie. He comes in with these 6 defensive backs, Mansfield, and he either takes the tight end or the halfback. He's a good player.
White back in punt formation. Eagles leading Dallas 24-20. Wally Henry limping over to the sideline in pain, obviously. Jaworski gets off to Montgomery, who keeps firm control of the ball. He's knocked down by Randy White.
The Eagles have been working that left side. I think the Cowboys have it figured out now. Doing a pretty good job of stopping that pitch to the left, that weak side pitch to the left side. One of the things that the Eagles want to do now is consume time, 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go. They want to keep the ball as long as they can. Of course, they'd like to score. They want to keep the ball away from the Cowboys. Ball control.
2nd and 8. Montgomery this time. Lone setback. Spagnola again in motion. Jaworski will throw. Looks outside. Has Montgomery. Has the ball bounce off his hand. Cowboys all over that one. Pruitt, Jones, everybody around. Heckman out there too.
Ron Jaworski's really been pretty sharp today because even his incompletes have been there and they've been dropped. One of his interceptions was right in Ron Smith's hands and it popped out. So he's really been sharper than his statistics are going to show today.
14 out of 22 for 175 yards he is. 1 touchdown. That's to Carmichael and 2 intercepted, I'm sorry. 1 by Walls, 1 by Thurman. 3rd down. 8. 4:10 left to play. Ball at the 46. Out of the shotgun. Jaworski has Spagnola back there with him. Carmichael shakes in motion and stays and now checks out. Complete. Ron Smith and Jaworski had a cross-up in signal.
Either that or Jaworski was throwing the ball away. Look at Ron Smith was saying I ran it out or I didn't hear the audible. As Ron Smith ran it out, Jaworski threw it up.
Hard to complete that one.
When there's no one there.
So Runniger comes on for his 4th effort of the day. Rod Hill back deep for Dallas. Something if Runniger took off. Good kick. Out of bounds at about the 10-yard line, it appears. Dallas got a long way to go, and they need a touchdown. 24-20. Philadelphia leads. This Friday, New Year's Eve, continues as the Iowa Hawkeyes take on the Tennessee Volunteers in a Peach Bowl in Atlanta. You haven't seen their wide receiver at Tennessee's. I mean, Willie Gault. He might be the fastest guy that's ever been around in a football season. So don't forget about the Peach Bowl.
Tom Landry's looking for some fast guys now that he can throw the ball out to the outside and maybe get some yardage here.
He has a fast guy to the left. That's Tony Hill. Drew Pearson out to the right. Ron Springs, the lone setback. Springs stays in the block. White. Cosby. Ducks out of bounds. First down. Herman Edwards knocked him out of bounds. Cosby got 11.
That was a big one because they were backed up. They were there in the 10-yard line. They were backed up against their own goal line. Now they get out on the other side of the 20, and that gives you a little more room to work. And that's very important with an offense like the Cowboys that like to use those multiple formations. You don't like to be backed up and do all those type things.
Philadelphia 24, Dallas 20. 2:52 left to play. That's the first down they've made this quarter. Cosby on the flanker around, end around, whatever. Cosby, ball slung out of bounds, a loss of yard. Carl Hairston right there, no place to go.
Yeah, I think I've seen more balls slung out of bounds, on the ground, bouncing around, fumbled today than I've seen in a football game in a long time. And again, it could be the ball is wet, the field is slick or whatever, but it seems like everything that happens, the balls fly into the ground. That was a great play, though, by Carl Hairston. Right in, down the line like a linebacker, didn't get fooled by the play, right
As the ball slipped out of his hand. He might have gotten it back. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah, there's something. It could be, the ball could be dry, but then when it's put down on the ground, it could get wet again. Just watch Danny White here. He's going back to pass, starts the pass, just brings the ball up, and it just falls right out of his hand. Grabbed it, brought it in there, though. But that's been happening all day.
To both teams. Following football, except on the West Coast, of course, you will see 60 minutes on the West Coast. You'll see that regular time. Right here, it's third down, 23, 2:34 left to play. Long, crucial yardage situation here. Out of the shotgun is Danny White. Now, that one's called to an end as flags go down. 30-second clock might have expired.
Delay, offense.
Remember last year, early in the season, the Cowboys had a lot of problems with that. Getting the play from the sideline, sent in with a messenger to the quarterback, getting it called in the huddle, getting out and up to the line. This year, they haven't seemed to have that problem, but you saw it there.
It's rolling up points. You saw that Washington was winning convincingly. Fourth quarter score, the Bears 27-19 over the Rams. Raiders 27. It'll be third and 27 here. And White stands in the end zone. There we go now. White, there's a screen pass out of the end zone. Dorsett has a blocker or two. Accelerates to the 20-yard line. Is popped 2 or 3 times by Ray Ellis and some more Eagle defenders. Jerry Robinson also. 18-yard gain, but Dorsett really got hit at the end of that.
It really looked good at the start of this play. Shotgun. You'll see Dorsett 33. He fakes like he's going to block. Works out to the left. Danny White hits him on a screen pass. Blockers in front. Right now it looks good. Right now it looks like he's going to get a first down. He cuts. But watch all those green jerseys. Boom, boom, boom. Coming from all over the place.
Exactly 2 minutes left to play, and it's Philadelphia 24, Dallas 20. Eagles still alive. Pat Summerall with John Madden, Texas Stadium, where the Eagles lead the Cowboys 24-20. 2 minutes exactly left to play as Danny White goes back in punt formation. He has already run once today to pick up first down yardage. He only needed a yard then, though. Now it's 4th and 9. Wally Henry lets it go away. Ball stays in bounds. Cowboys down at Rod Hill as the first man down there at the 30. 48-yard punt, no return. Just a reminder once more, our schedule for next week. Doubleheader on CBS, the Giants at Philadelphia, St. Louis at Washington, Chicago at Tampa Bay. Green Bay at Detroit, Atlanta at New Orleans, Rams at San Francisco. It's the extra game next week. Brought about as, of course, a result of the long strike. A lot of people still with playoff possibilities. Pressure now on both units. Handoff, Montgomery. Mike Hegman was the first Cowboy to make contact. Clock will still run unless somebody calls a timeout.
I would think.
And let's see.
I was going to say, I would think that the Cowboys would start using timeouts right now. That's what Tom Landry's thinking. That was an interesting play, that last one. You know, the Cowboys had used that tight end in motion, and then he becomes a lead blocker, the trap blocker, and now the Eagles are giving it right back to him.
That's the first timeout called by the Cowboys. They still have 2 left. The Eagles have 2 left. As Jaworski comes over to talk with Dick Vermeil.
Now the big thing here, what they're talking about there is once the Cowboys take their first time out, now the Eagles have to get another first down so that the Cowboys can't call 1, 2, and 3. If they get a first down, then the Eagles have 4 downs and the Cowboys only have 2 timeouts left. So if the Eagles are going to put the Cowboys in a bind, they still need a first down. Conversely, the Cowboys have to stop it. Once you call that first timeout with less than 2 minutes to go, you can't let them have another first down.
So once they do get the first down, they should be able to run it out.
That's right. They'd be able to run it out then.
Chicago 27, the Rams 26, fourth quarter. Malavasi having all kind of difficulty in Los Angeles. Carmichael split out wide to the right against Everson Walls. 2nd and 6. Montgomery is checked short of the line of scrimmage, or just about at the line of scrimmage. Cowboys now want another timeout. The officials do not stop the clock. They're saying Montgomery was still in bounds.
That's what the fans were booing about. The Cowboy fans know that they don't want to have to waste a timeout. Montgomery gets out of bounds, of course, the clock stops. They don't rule him out of bounds, and the Cowboys had to use another timeout. They only have 1 remaining.
So it'll be 3rd down. Philadelphia 24, Dallas 20. Minute 36 left to play as Tom Landry changed his wardrobe at the half. Maybe he'd like to go back and change again because Dallas looked in good shape at that particular time.
He was ahead with the old wardrobe. You know, Philadelphia's really taken a lot of heat this year, and of course their defense has taken a lot of heat. They went from 1st in defense last year to 13th this year, but I'll say that today they really played well. They look like the old Philadelphia Eagles. They're rushing the passer, running all over the field, causing fumbles, turnovers, all those types of things.
Big down coming up right now for Philadelphia. 3rd and 5, a minute 36 left to play, and look at the rain belt down. It had stopped for a while, but they were talking about sleet and freezing rain and all kinds of problems later on. 3rd and 5. Montgomery once again the lone setback. Handoff is to Wilbur. Hit by Benny Barnes, and the Eagles will have to punt, and once again Dallas quickly comes up with a timeout. John Dutton was there too.
Now that's their last timeout. 1 minute, 32 seconds. That's plenty of time, but with no timeouts, it's going to make it tough. Of course, with the punt, there's an automatic timeout at the change of possession.
I was interested to hear your explanation yesterday, John, about the secret of Landry's longevity. That he doesn't get bothered by extraneous things.
That was the thing. You know, we were talking about Tony Dorsett on Saturday, whether he'd be able to play or not. And Tom Landry said, I don't know, I'll talk to him tomorrow about it. I would have been a basket case, a nervous wreck. He's my best player if I didn't know if he was going to play or not the day before the game. He's something.
So Runniger enters the contest on 4th down. Those of you who watched the Redskins defeat New Orleans today, 27-10, welcome to Texas Stadium, where the score here is 24-20. Philadelphia leading Dallas. Pat Summerall with John Madden. We have 1 minute, 32 seconds left to play. Cowboys up in what appears to be a situation where they'd like to block it. Sure they would. Rod Hill back deep for the Cowboys. Max Runniger. Let as much time run off the clock as they can. Don't block it. Runniger gets it in the direction of Hill. Rod Hill has it go away from him and bounces out of bounds. Cowboys will take over. 42-yard punt, no return. Landry and Danny White.
They have a lot to talk about now because they know that if they don't get out of bounds, they can't take time out. So they're going to have to maybe call more than one play in the huddle, and they have to use, of course, their hurry-up offense.
And, of course, with the 4-point deficit, field goal is out of the question. 24-20.
They have to think of a touchdown in about 5 plays.
They'll operate out of the shotgun. this in the W column for Philadelphia.
The Eagles are happy, and they deserve this one today. They worked hard today, and they played very, very well. That ball looked like it slipped out of Danny White's hand, just took off on him. Herman Edwards was right there. He was trying to run some time off the clock so that the offense didn't have as much to do. I tell you, with the Cowboys losing, the Redskins winning, and that gives the Redskins the best record in the NFC.
And home field advantages and all those sort of things in the playoffs, which are extremely important.
The old flop down. Harold Carmichael deep. They line up all their guys inside. Big Harold Carmichael deep as a safety.
Dallas, of course, once again has no timeout. The Eagles celebrate, still alive in the playoff situation. One more game to go, and they can still make it. They play the Giants next week.
And we'll be there next week.
And we'll be in Philadelphia.
Christmas in Dallas, New Year's in Philadelphia.
All right. In Dallas. Down to 15 seconds now. Clock still running. Jaworski will just kneel. And that ought to just about do it. Texas Stadium, where the Eagles had won only once. Today, and now 2 in their win column. Dick Vermeer certainly very happy about things. And Summerall with John Madden once again, 24-20, the final score.
Hey, congratulations. Thank you.
Executive producer of the NFL on CBS, Terry O'Neill. Charles Milton III, Red Eye himself, senior producer. Bob Stinner produced today's broadcast. Directed by Sandy Grossman. Producer Joan Petrano. Marty Tin, technical director. Richie Sands, always so helpful. And the rest of those who help us so greatly. Merry Christmas one more time. Hope 1983 is great for you. So the Eagles keep, although their slim hopes for playoffs alive. They play the Giants next week. That's the final score, 24-20. The Eagles over Dallas. Pat Summerall for John Madden saying so long now to Los Angeles. Tim Ryan.